Hello everyone, Julia Sheehan here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Brisbane, Queensland. Today I'd like to do this little card with you. It's a magic slider card and I got the idea from a lady on YouTube called France Martin. I'm not sure whether she is the creator of this particular cut for the card or not, but that's where I initially saw it done. I have seen a few different ways of putting this card together. Some of them are quite complex, and I wanted to make sure I did one that was easy, that people would be able to do without feeling stressed doing it. So I chose this one. I've put a few little changes in it myself just to make it easier, but the basic idea came from hers in the first place. Okay, so little magic slider frog here. There he is. And I've done that as a birthday card. And then this one I've done as an Easter card. Happy Easter and the lovely daffodils. And this one hasn't been done very much yet, so it's just a little bit stiff going back in there. And that's one of the things I have done. I've just slightly trimmed down my measurements in there so it slides better. So we'll see how we go. Initially, the one that I saw done was like this. This is the little frog here, but it was just like this on the front, and I just felt that was too plain. She did do some stamping on there, but I decided to put some DSP on it. That's 2016-2018 DSP. It's just something that I had left over, so I just tried it out. When I'm doing practice ones, I don't always use my best stuff. And then this one, I put a white frame around it, and I just sort of fiddled around with a few little bits and pieces. I think some little butterflies or flowers down here would look nice too, down the side pieces, but I haven't done that yet. Anyway, the one we're going to do today is an Easter one, but we're going to be using Fable Friends and the little rabbit, because he's so cute, and they'll be gone soon. Well, they may or may not be, but I wanted to get in just in case, because I do think this will make a lovely Easter card. Okay, so what you need is a piece of cardstock. I'm using Pacific Point, but you can use whatever you want. It's 5 1/4 by 11 inches, and then we need a piece of Whisper White measuring 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 inches. We need some DSP for the front, and I'm using this Gingham Gala Designer Series paper. I think it's really cute. Oops. And then we need a piece of window sheet and a piece of Whisper White. And I'm using the thick Whisper White for this particular part of it, only because it's the bit that slides in and out all the time, and I just think that the thicker Whisper White will probably wear well. So those pieces of that are 3 13/16 of an inch by 5 inches. And then you also need well, you probably could do it end on end, but I've got 2 pieces 2 inches wide of Pacific Point, and then just a small piece of Whisper White and Pacific Point just for our Happy Easter when we do that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to use our cutter. Now, normally when you're scoring, I use my Simply Scored because I find that a lot easier. But for this particular card, because we have to do cuts and scores, this works out easier. So we're going to score it. So I'll just move my cutting blade up and out of the way, and we're scoring it at 5 1/2 inches. So I'm just going to bring my scoring blade up, and there we go. Now once you've done that, just take it out, and you're going to go to the 1/2 inch over here. So there's our 1/2 inch. And we're going to use our cutting blade and cut down to that score line. Down to there. It's as far as you need to go. And then we're going to score up to that line. Then you're going to do the other side the same, and be careful that you flip it that way. Very silly, I went, oh okay, I'll do it, and somehow or other I ended up with a flap here and a flap down here, which was totally wrong. So just turn it over and do exactly the same at the 1/2 inch. Cut down to the score line and then score up to it. Okay, we're done with that. Okay, now with scissors, I've covered them up with a multitude of paper and things here at the moment, so I'll just grab any pair at the moment. There we go. And we're going to cut these 2 bits off. So just on an angle, just cut there and there, and that's done. Now, the next thing you can do, you can burnish these pieces if you want to. So we'll just take that one up to there, do that, open it up, fold this one in like that, that one in like that. Now, what you're going to need is some tear and tape, and across the bottom here, not over the fold line, but directly above it, you're going to put some tear and tape there, just like that. Just make sure that's well down. Okay, and then also just turn it over to the front, and we're going to put tear and tape on here as well. Now, it is important that you don't let it overlap outside of the tab, and that's because when you close it all up, you don't want any glue here inside that can catch on the slider itself. So just going to make sure that that is inside the tab only. Sorry, sometimes I stop talking because I'm thinking about what I'm doing. I do apologise. And then we're just going to do the same thing on this side. There we are. Staying inside that line. Cut that off. And down there. And we've done that. Right, so we're up to this point here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of this DSP, and I think I gave you a measurement for that. It's going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there's that. I've now got my DSP on there. And now I'm going to take my rectangle, and I used, the one I used, but you can use any size, is the 4th one in. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one in. from the outside. I've been waiting for these rectangles. I love using rectangles, but if you wanted to, you could put an oval on the front, you could put a circle, it doesn't matter. As long as you can fit your picture in there, that's fine. And then what you do is you just try and center that with this particular piece of DSP. It makes it very easy because there's lines to follow, but having to remember that you need a little bit of room down the bottom here where you've put your tape, and you need a bit of room at the top. So I'm going to pop that about there, I think, and I will be back once I've cut that. Okay, there we are, and that actually cuts through very easily. And we have the nice stitching here on the front as well, which is going to be nice for the card. And I can use this little panel for something else, so I'll keep that. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is to put the piece of Whisper White that I talked about at the beginning, the one that is 4 1/8 by 5 inches, and that's going to go in here. So we're just going to take up the Terran tape here, and we're going to place this card on here, just centering it. It's nearly the exact width, but it's just slightly a slight difference. And just above that score line, and stick that down. Okay, so now you should have that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is take these off here. So Terran tape off the sides. Like that. And again off this side. And then just get that last one. Then just run your finger out down there and make sure there's nothing overlapping that's sticky. And then just starting from the bottom, and it is a little bit sticky and tacky, but just press your card down like that. And we have that. Okay. Now the next thing we need is our window sheet and our piece of Whisper White. And what I do, you don't have to, I mean, it's if you've got a good eye, you can probably do it. But what I like to do is just to sit that there, and then I just do a dot, 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 dot. And this is a pen that wipes off, so it's not going to stay there. And that just gives me a rough idea of where to place my stamp or my Stamparatus. Now I have tentatively put it on here. Just turn the little bunny upside down. So I will put this on here, and I will see how close I was with my guess. And yes, that'll be fine. Okay, I can put him in there. Okay, so now the next thing is, for the window sheet, we need to use the Stazon, because it's especially designed for plastics, metals, anything that's not porous and would possibly rub off. So we use the Stazon for that. And you have no idea the number of times I've actually had that plastic protector there on here and wondered why the ink's not coming out. So we're just going to do the Stazon on our little gorgeous little rabbit. Okay, and then we'll bring that over and just push him down and give him a minute. And there he is. So, rabbit done. Next thing put your card in exactly the same spot up into the corner. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to clean the Stazon ink off. Just dry that. I just used a wet one for that. And then we're going to use the Memento Black ink. One of the reasons we can't use the Stazon for it is that I'm going to be doing watercolouring and using the Stampin' blends, and of course that's going to react with the alcohol. So we just Memento the rabbit. I always like to get a good amount of ink on there. Okay, and then we'll bring that one over and press him down. Just give it a minute. There's our little rabbit. Okay, now I'm just going to pop that aside. There's a few other things I thought about adding, but I just thought it got a little bit complex. I was going to add the little butterfly from, the frog one, So Happy Together. Oh, actually, I think it could be a butterfly, it could be a mosquito. I don't know, but it was kind of cute, and I thought, oh, it might look nice in there. And then I thought maybe just some little flowers, but I decided not to in the end. And then when you put this together, they overlap really well. Now, this is where I'm just going to take my little dots off that I put on there with my pen. Okay, and then we're going to colour him. And what I'm using is Pacific Point, Flirty Flamingo, Early Espresso, Garden Green, and I'm using the Daffodil Delight, the Dark Daffodil Delight Stampin' blend. Okay, so now it's just a matter of colouring his little jacket, and I'm going to do that Pacific Point. The Stampin' blend will be used for his buttons on his jacket, and I'll just quickly do this, and then I will sort of jump ahead so you don't have to watch me do the whole thing. With the Early Espresso, I tend to be darker on the outside of the rabbit and then lighter across his belly, like that. And then I just take, where is it? And all I'm going to do is add a little bit of water and watercolour up his jacket. I'll do the rest of the jacket later. And the same with his body. Just dab that off. And so do the darker bits there first, and then just go lightly across his tummy. And I use the pink for his ears, like that. These are all watercolour, and I just put a little bit pink on his nose here, and then Stampin' blend on his buttons. Okay, I'll be back when that's done. And here he is, all done, ready to go. So we'll lay that over, and there he is. Okay, so now we have to put this together. Now, I am using the scallop tag topper, and the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to measure these at about 1 inch. So before I put them in, just take my glasses off so I can see. So before I put them in, I'm just going to mark with a dot where the 1 inch is, and again on this one. Okay, so then I'm going to slide it into here, and there's one. Slide the other one in, there's that one. Then I bring this back in, and just lining it up along one of these lines, and where the dot is, I'm going to cut it like that. There's one, and that's why I said you can do it. You could reverse it and do the other tag at the other end with a piece that size. And that's basically the width of what's left off the cardstock when you cut this piece out. So again, right there, and just cut that. Now I've got to. Now I have seen this done with a 1 inch circle, and that's how Franz Martin did it, with a 1 inch circle. But I didn't want to cut so deeply into the top of this card here to get that 1 inch in there, and I thought these tag toppers would look nicer. So now I'm just going to find the center. So that will be 2 1/8. Will be there. Just put a little dot, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 2 inch circle punch instead, because it is broader and less deep, and yes, it does fit in here. So I'm just going to slide that in, and you can see my little dot there, maybe, I don't know, and that's the center, so that's where I'm going to cut, and I'm only doing a very slight part of the circle, so it looks like that. I don't want to go down as far as the white card that's in here. I don't want that to be seen when the card's like that, so I like it like that. Right, next thing, bring these in, and I'm going to put the tag topper on top of these. Now that's 3 and 13. And I'm just going to mark that there. That's our center. And just roughly get the center here too, which is at 1 inch. That's the underside, by the way, not the top side. Now, you can use snail to put on your tag toppers. What you can do is you can put a little piece of snail, just get that up, just at the top there, just rub that off, just to hold this in the right place, or help hold it there. There we go. And then I like to use Tombow, and if you watch me you know I do. I love using Tombow. The one I've marked is that one there. And I'm just going to put that in line with there and stick that down so that I can't see any of it behind there, and I can put a ribbon through there. And then just make sure that your little rabbit is all lined up, and when you put your one on the back, that's when you have to make sure it's well lined up so that it matches. But it's quite easy to do. I say as I probably mess it up, but anyway, it is actually. So our back one goes on, and then we've just got a second to slide anything we need to, but that's looking pretty good. And that puts the two pieces together. Okay, there we are. Now, I should let that just dry for a second, but we'll see how we go. Now what you do is you slide the clear sheet in front of that white insert and the rabbit behind it, like that. Slide him down in there, and there he is. In, out. And that slides so much better now. I've just taken that 1/16 of an inch off, and it makes a huge difference to sliding the card in and out. So there we are. Now I'm going to get these two little white pieces. Now I have stamped Happy Easter on there, and so I'm just going to attach it to here. And that Happy Easter is actually out of You're Inspiring. What's this one here? And that's the same stamp set that I used for this daffodil one. So I was looking at my sentiments, and a lot of them are retired, so I was trying to find one that I had that still was current. Okay, there's our little Happy Easter, and I'm just going to grab some dimensionals. There we go. Put one on that end and one on that end. And I would put a piece of ribbon, but I don't have any current ribbon, so it's not going to go on there. So there he is. He's finished. There'd be ribbon through here, so you can do that. And there's our little slider rabbit. And our daffodil. And the crazy little frog. And that is my card for today. And if you liked it, please subscribe to my channel, share and thumbs up, it'd be great. Thank you to all those people who have shared my work. I really appreciate it because I love doing this and it's really nice. There is a link to my online store if you would like to get any of these products. Some of these will be finishing in the Occasions catalogue. This is in our current annual catalogue, so that's fine. This is a celebration stamp, and I think this little fellow here is in the Occasions catalogue as well. But you've only got to the end of this month to get those, and this one here is still available. It's in our other annual catalogue. So that's just for your information if you were thinking about getting them. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that today. I think it's such a cute little card, it's, oops, I hadn't quite had that dry when I put that in, so yeah, but there he goes. Yeah, I hope you really enjoyed that and that you get the time to make one. Anyway, everyone, take care. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye for now.